continue with the examples that we were doing in the LOD expressions. We'll cover like a few more examples today. So this would be the first examples, and let me explain the case here, what we are talking about. And all of these will be worked on sample superstore data or global superstore data. So in these particular examples, what we are looking at is basically, I think Jairam and Akhil might be familiar with this, but for the rest, so here we have basically the sales data, and we want to categorize in each month, and on our x-axis, we want to say, hey, how many of the total days in this month have been profitable, okay profitable, and how many of them are in loss. Okay, so as we can see, the blue is highly profitable, gray is just profitable, and the bottom orange one is unprofitable days. So we need this sort of, and this is number of days. So the sum in all this blue, gray, and orange for each month would be the number of days in that particular month. So let's see how we can arrive that kind of analysis. So again, the logic here would be to basically to create LOD at a day level. So on each day, hey, get all the profit that the sales generated on that particular day, and based on that number, we segregate them into bins, either one of these three bins: highly profitable, profitable, or unprofitable. So in order to do that calculation, this is how we proceed. So for every order day, give me the profit. So it will take up all the sum of the profit from all the transactions on that day and give me this kind of value a table. Now once I get this value, what I'll do is I'll basically, using that value which I created just now, I'll create this if condition. If that, based on the criteria whatever we are interested in, but at this point in time, this is what we are using. If the profit per day is above $2,000, then I'm considering it as highly profitable. If it is less than 0, then unprofitable. If it is anywhere between 0 to 2,000, I am considering it as profitable. So based on that, I can you can see already here, I've just categorized all of my days into one of these buckets. Once I've done these two things, all I have to do is I have to create the view. Let's go ahead and do it ourselves. So for example, let me know. Yeah. Okay. So on the x-axis I have my month, so I'll just pull my order date and left it. Once I have my month, I know I need to calculate the number of days when that happens. So I need to take order date, and I should put that into basically count the number of days. So count distinct of order ID is what I want. Count distinct of order date. So I got the value like that, and I need to distribute this based on the bucket that we just created. So if you see this calculation, it's basically if the bin that we just created, either profitable, unprofitable, or other one, and we just put that in rows, and we get that, and we just put this in color and change the area part. So this is how we get the analysis that we have here. Here they have just added year as well on the top, in addition to the month. So they got the segmented view for each year, and so that's how we can generate an analysis, something like this. So before we move on, if you have any questions at the end of any example, just you can shoot them.
Jagdish, can you just show how the daily profit was calculated?
I'm sorry, how the daily profit?
Daily profit was calculated.
You mean this one?
Yeah.
So this
Is
was
that
a
a metric?
this was a conditional statement. If you're looking at the daily profit calculation,
Yeah.
profit per day.
Profit per day, yes.
So here is where we use our LOD.
Okay, got it. This was the one, right? Okay, understood. You showed this. Great, perfect.
So moving on to the next example. This is also a little familiar for most of you. So let me explain the case here. So for example, I have a world map with each country having the contribution it has to the global sales as a percentage. As you can see, US has 18%, which is the highest number. From the color you can see there is no other color which is of that hue. So now the idea here is, let's say there are some, for example, if you see in this section you are unable to see what are the values very clearly. So let's say you want to zoom into certain section or filter out certain section. I only want to see European view. Okay, now what happens here is when you create a filter, okay, now this is how the filter will work. Let's say I have the same view here, just the color is different, 18. Now let's say I'm only selecting European Union. The numbers you see here, if you notice, they themselves are like, for example, here the France is 30%. Earlier we saw US was only, which was the highest, has only 18%. This is because whatever you select, the percentage will be calculated on that particular section only. So it will basically, this percentage is calculation is excluding rest of the country sales and only taking a European Union to get the percentage, and which we are not interested in that. We want to be able to zoom in, but we should also be able to retain the global percentages, and that's what we did here. For example, if I zoom into European view, I'll be able to still see the same 7%, which is on the account of global sales, not just in this particular section. So how do I arrive at that? It's again a simple technique. First of all, so I have my each country and the sales as my first column. This is the sum of sales. Then I'll write my fixed expression to get the total sales at the global level. So this expression here is a fixed expression at the data source level. So that will give me the combined sales globally. And what I need to do basically is, here I need to divide that number with this number. The first and second column that you saw here, when I divide this by this, I'll get the global percentage. Since this second column, global sales, is a fixed expression, it will not be affected by any of my dimension filters. Therefore, my percentages will always be at the global scale. They will be retained irrespective of your filter dimension filters. But situation will change when you work with context filters. So what I did here, I just got my sum of sales and my fixed expression inside here, and I wrote an aggregation minimum just to extract one value of all these duplicates. Thereby I'll be able to divide this. So thereby I get my 7%, which is the global percentage, global contribution of that particular country. And then based on that, if I change any of my filter, I'll be able to zoom in, also be able to retain. For example, if I go to US, I should be able to see 18%, and like this. Okay, I'll move on to other example. Okay, this is something about customer acquisition analysis. So for example, when we say customer acquisition, we are interested in, hey, how many new customers are we gaining on a day-to-day basis. So that is the analysis that we want to look at. And here we presented a graph that gives us how many of the new customers have joined across each some month scale time period for each of these different markets. Now here The issue is we need to create basically we need to use an LOD to basically distinguish who are the already existing customers and who are the customers who are joined just now, like new customers. And let's see how we can proceed to do that. So we all know a simple logic that if a particular customer had made a purchase, it will be recorded as a transaction, and if that particular transaction is his first transaction, then obviously that particular customer ID is a new customer. So based on that logic, we created this fixed expression that will give us that will help us distinguish the new and existing customers. For example, if you see here, this particular customer ID 3152 has made transactions in all these states, and we have extracted his first date, and what we did was we and likewise we did for all other customers. Now what we are doing, what we try to do next is basically see on each day if a particular customer's first order date is equal to his transaction date. Okay, then we consider that particular customer on that day as a new customer. So we will count him on that day, but not on any other days when he makes following purchases. So for the next of the transaction that he makes, it will be existing customer, and likewise for all other customers. So based after doing this distinction, it's a simple if condition. After doing this distinction, we'll be able to create a simple plot. Let's do that again. Yeah, so first of all, I'll create my order date into rows. And then I need to create my count of customer ID, because that's what I'm looking at. Count distinct of customer ID, count distinct of customer ID, and I'm looking at the market level for each market. So I'll put I think it's region to color. Okay, let's do this. Global superstore. Order date I've got now. Customer ID and count distinct customer ID. We got that, and I'll take my market and I put that into color. And then I'll just do a table calculation which gives us the running total. Okay, we are looking at a day level, and okay, instead of month, let's change this to day level. And if you see, the maps are not matching because here currently we are taking into consideration all the existing and new customers. We need to just filter out the existing customers and provide only new, so thereby we'll get only the right customers. So now we got the right trends of all the new customers that were joining on a day-to-day basis for each of these markets. Okay, if there are no, if you have any questions, let me know, or I'll move to the next question, next example. Okay. Here, this one is also little familiar. Let me go through the case once again. Here we have different categories, basically categories of category, and what we are trying to achieve here is basically we want to see if you want to compare any sales of any category with an average, we can just put a reference line and we will be able to visually see, hey, what category has passed above average or below average. So we'll be able to make that difference. But let's say we want to enable a comparative analysis of each with respect to other categories. For example, I want currently we, as you can see, I'm comparing all the category sales with respect to my paper category sales. So that's why, and I was able to say, hey, with respect to my paper, all these four are doing not so good, and all the above ones are doing a lot better. And I should be, if you want something else like to compare with, let's say for example bookcases, I should be able to do the same with that. Then how we'll do that? So for example here, let's say bookcases, I just saw then I'll be able to see how each of the categories is doing with respect to bookcases sales. Now let's see how we can do that. First, we basically need to create a parameter for us to get the selection, like what category that we want to compare to. Okay, and then what we do is we create a calculated field, selected sale. So based on my selection of my parameter, if my category field is equal to that parameter, then only give me sales. So what it'll do is basically this column will only have the sales of the category that you have chosen into the parameter. So as you can see on the right, I've selected paper, therefore only paper sales are coming out and the rest of them are not coming out. Now after that, what we do is if you see the logic here, we are trying to compare each of the categories. We have extracted this value based on the parameter, but we want this to be able to compare with all other categories as well. So what I need to do is basically I need to be able to subtract each of these bars from this bar. So I need this bar to be populated across all the categories as well, not the 0, 0, 0, but this value. So how do I do that? Since my view is already at a category level, all I have to do is exclude my category. Therefore, this value will get duplicated. This is something that we saw when we are doing the earlier how exclude and include works. So include always aggregates and exclude always duplicates. So if we see here, I write a simple expression, exclude category, and it will basically the same value that we saw earlier, 253 was since my category is eliminated, it just duplicates for all other values. Now since I got these two, it's just a matter of fact of subtracting one from the other and being able to get the so basically I subtract some sales from the sum sales of the selected category, and I'll be able to get this bar graph, comparative bar graph. I'll just put the same field into color that will color the difference. So we'll keep all the negatives in orange and likewise. Any questions here?
Jagdish, we can also achieve this by sets, or
yes,
am I correct? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, sets also is, yeah, we can achieve this. And anything, so basically the sets have been they are there from very early, but the way that we use sets to enable this sort of analysis was very recent, up until like 2019. So earlier they used to do with the table calculations. Later the LODs came into picture, and later people started using sets. So there are always multiple ways to achieve the same task in Tableau. Okay, so that's all I had for today.